When you think of Yosemite, what do you think of? El Capitan? Half Dome? Maybe Vernal Falls? And today, we are going to see all of them while Jess and I attempt the longest day hike we have ever done. Welcome back to the channel, guys. My name is Trey, and me and my fiance have been living in this RV for a little over a year now. It's currently 4 in the morning, and it's time to get up because today we decided to catch sunrise inside the park. The campground itself is only about 5 miles away from the western entrance, but 40 minutes away from where we're heading today. And I cannot lie, it has been a while since we've chased a sunrise properly. But if there's ever a place to do it, it is Yosemite. The plan is to watch sunrise, then head on into the valley to start the hike, because we're gonna need all the time we can get for this one. That hikes along the John Muir Trail, and it stops by some familiar scenery that you've seen here on the channel before. Witnessing the morning glow pouring into the valley is such an angelic experience. For the first time in a while, I have the shivers by watching something as simple as light hitting the granite cliffs. We have made it to the sunrise spot. Vivian, Evan, if you're watching this is what you missed the other day. I can't really explain it or elaborate on this feeling, but Yosemite sort of has this grip on me. If you've been here before, you may know what I mean when I say there's a sense of belonging in this valley. From what I've heard and read from the great John Muir, Hetch Hetchy before the dam gave the same feeling as Yosemite Valley. Curry Village, for the most part, is where your base is. It has your parking, dining, shopping, and restrooms here. And until Tioga Road or Glacier Point opens up in late May or June, this is where the bulk of the crowd can be found.
There's nothing like meeting new people right as we're about to start trail and telling them where we're going today and them immediately encouraging us to do Half Dome.
I didn't need the encouragement, by the way, just so you guys know. I didn't need the encouragement.
I need the encouragement.
You didn't wear this outdoorsy bandana for nothing, right?
The cables aren't even up, so
you can just go up, is what he said.
He said you could just go up. No, thank you.
And he was so distraught that she contemplated not even going up Half Dome.
Yeah, the encouragement was real, more like peer pressure.
The beginning of this hike will be very similar to what we did a few weeks back, starting with the Mist Trail, which is sort of the entry to all the higher country trails you can take here. I will say though, thanks to the Grand Canyon for kicking my ass a few weeks back, gave me the motivation I needed to get training, and it's uphill since. Today is absolutely beautiful. It's supposed to be around 78 degrees, and even the river seems a bit higher today than I've ever seen it. Here at the first river crossing, you get the first glimpse of Vernal Falls, along with this raging Merced River. Can you believe this is all snowmelt feeding this river? If you come in August, the waterline would be much lower or barely existent at all.
Broke out of the jackets, and it is a beautiful day. The sunglasses are on, and the sounds are just absolutely lovely.
The sounds are sounding?
The sounds are sounding. All you hear is just the rush of the water falling from the falls. It's about to get misty.
A lot of people bring ponchos for this section of the trail, but honestly, it might be futile because no matter what, you're leaving a little wet. This 317-foot waterfall creates its own turbulent winds as well as its own rainbow.
This is your third time hitting the Mist Trail. How does it feel?
It feels great. I'm feeling good. I want to keep going.
Does it ever get old?
Honestly, no.
No? It never gets old. This is like one of the best parts of this trail.
Making it past this point, there is only a small push-up to the top of the falls, where most of the crowd comes to see how far they've come, as well as sunbathe, dry out, and warm up from the mist.
You know, I'm gonna be that old person and say, we got here at a good time. Because as soon as we got here, the crowd was right behind us. But it should be dispersing here soon because we're gonna head on back to the Liberty Cap, and once we get past the Liberty Cap, we'll hit the meadows, and the meadows to Half Dome eventually.
Jess and I are making great time today. It's only 10 a.m. and we've already reached the footbridge below the Liberty Cap. Can Jess and I make it to Half Dome before 1 p.m.?
And as soon as we're moving away from Vernal Falls and it's quieting down, you can hear the next waterfall pick up.
Coming up on Nevada Falls, which is arguably a little more aggressive than Vernal Falls, you don't have to get soaked a second time if you don't wish to. The trail meanders through some of the first sightings of the forest before turning up to our second big push past Nevada Falls, which I can only describe as the Wiggles.
Making it to the top of Nevada Falls, this is where the isolation starts to begin. I don't think we'll see too many more day hikers back this way. Should only see mainly backpackers and overnighters.
Around mile 5, we start to break off and head towards the dome. Only about 3 to 4 miles left to go, and the first sights of the famous peak is starting to come through.
Can y'all hear that? That is the sound of a plane flying over Yosemite, echoing off all the walls.
What walls?
The granite walls, the cliffs. God, she challenges me on everything I say.
You know, in the hiking community, there's this debate between which is the tougher / scarier hike, Angel's Landing or Half Dome. Since we have already hiked Angel's Landing, I'll say this. You only have to hike 2 miles to make it to the entrance of Angel's Landing, but 8 miles uphill to get to Half Dome. For the first time ever, Jess and I are experiencing a preview of Yosemite's beautiful high country while we started scaling the subdome, which is a section before you hit Half Dome space, and even here you can experience a bit of vertigo.
We found us a little spot up here on the subdome portion, and it is absolutely gorgeous. Jess and I are not going to attempt to do the full Half Dome because we did not bring any harnesses, nothing. But even coming up the subdome, you'll get a little bit of vertigo coming up these steps. It was fun, exhilarating, but also a little nerve-wracking when you look down. It kind of gives Yosemite a different kind of scale, if that makes sense. But we are going to eat our sandwiches that she packed. What do you combine, turkey or is it ham?
Ham. Yours is ham, mine's turkey.
Mine is ham and Jess has a turkey.
Up here, you can see where all the waterfalls gets its water from, and there's still a ton of snow up in the high country.
So if you're afraid of heights, this is probably not the trail for you. At least when you reach the subdome. Everything before then, I would say anybody could probably do on a good day. But what do you think, Jess?
I'm afraid of heights.
She's afraid of heights. So if you don't have a harness, and everybody was asking us like, oh, do you have a harness? Do you have a harness? Like, no, why? Like, can you make it up without harnesses? Because the guy this morning, he was like, just full send it, bro. Like the mountain guy down at the trail.
Who was encouraging me, who was trying to peer pressure me,
Yeah.
wanted me to die.
Yeah, he was like, full send it, bro. Didn't ask if we had harnesses, but then everybody up here is like, oh, you got a harness? No? Okay, I probably wouldn't do it. So, we stuck to the safer side, had some good lunch, and now it's time to head back.
This is one of those days we simply do not want to end. I see why Ansel Adams and John Muir fell in love with this place.
Like, that is a massive tree.
The pine cones are simply massive here, and we even saw a baby rattlesnake trying to cross the trail, which was cool.
The trail we've had that's had this much incline all in one go is probably the Grand Canyon when we visited. So Jess, how would you compare this trail to the Grand Canyon?
I don't know. Like, I feel like the Grand Canyon's a little harder just because it's straight incline, no brakes, no nothing. Like here at least you have incline and then it kind of levels out a little bit.
Straight up incline. And the funny thing about that is I think the Grand Canyon is slightly harder just because if you were going to do the full trail, which we didn't because, spoiler alert, it was closed halfway down. But if we were to do the Bright Angel Trail all the way down to Colorado River and back, you go down the entire 16 miles, but on the way back, the reversed trip, that's when it's all purely incline. Versus here, you get all your incline on the way out, and then on the way back, It's all decline.
The sounds of the waterfalls will never get old to us, and the mist will never get old as well. This is a trail I could hike 100 times with a smile.
We just dried off and getting soaked right back up. Something to say.
We're done.
All right, Jess. So we didn't hike Half Dome, but we made it to Half Dome and got to see it. How do you feel about that?
I mean, it's cool. I'm not doing that again. I am deathly afraid of heights. While I did not have a panic attack this time around, the beginnings of it were there, so.
Now, I was telling Jess, like, if you do something at least once a year like this, you gotta build up your tolerance to these kind of things. Don't get yourself in like a bind doing it, but like challenge yourself once a year. But if you're gonna do it, if you want to do it, it took us about 12 hours, but that was like with filming and setting up and taking down, all that good stuff. So if you're gonna walk straight there, straight back, and you have a mission to get there, you could probably do it between 8 and 10 hours.
Before heading home, it's time to get a few snacks at the Curry Village gift shop.
You know what's funny is that we're here in Curry Village and you have a good view of Half Dome. And check this out. That's Half Dome right there. So we were on the little, what's it, the subdome is what they call it? We were on the subdome and it took us all day to hike up there and come back. That's crazy.
Winding down for the day, it's time for a nice campfire and some food. And if you've been here for a while, you know we love some ribs. Our last few days here in Yosemite were an absolute blast, and Glacier Point finally opened up, which we got to see the famous postcard-worthy view of Half Dome and the valley the very next day. Next week, we start our northward journey for the summer, starting with a pit stop in Salt Lake City. And thank you guys for hanging out with us today. Subscribe to the channel if you enjoy these videos, and we will see you next week on the road. Peace and much love.